Welcome to Cool But Rude, a TMNT rewatch podcast. Today we'll be going over Season 2, Episode 3, It Came From Beneath the Sewers. Stay tuned. All right, we are your hosts, Christopher.
I'm Robert.
I am Mike.
And today, like I said, we're going to be going over Season 2, Episode 3, It Came From Beneath the Sewers. And today's episode actually had an original air date of October 15th, 1988. So I don't know if any of you were old enough to remember where you were then, caught it when it came out, but I sure as hell don't remember. So yeah, it's another week, and we are here. Robert, I think we wanted to do a shout out for something that you've been working on, right?
Yeah. So I've this just kind of hasn't come up yet, but I also host a podcast called the Classic Gaming Podcast. So if you enjoy my commentary in particular, then maybe you'll like it. Or if you like classic games, or if you like my co-host Jay's commentary, he's a lot funnier than I am. If you like any one of those three things, you should listen to it.
Or if you like Final Fantasy.
Yeah. Just like due to the sheer, it's like I guess it's almost a probability thing more than anything, because there are so many Final Fantasy games. Like 70% of our episodes at least end up having a discussion of at least one Final Fantasy game. And it's not just that, because we usually cover 3 or 4, sometimes even 5 games in an episode. So if you don't like Final Fantasy, you can still listen. There's other stuff that we do talk about. But yeah, just about every time we somehow end up talking about one or another Final Fantasy game.
So Robert, if you just gave a quick high level overview of what you guys do discuss other than Final Fantasy, well, how would you just break it down?
So Jay, my co-host Jay, and I will play, 1, 2, or 3 games each, just kind of like whatever we have time for. I usually play 2 or 3. He's usually got 1 or 2. We release episodes about every 3 weeks, and it's video games up through 2005. That's what we consider classic, is anything that's 2005 or earlier. It's PC, it's anything, any console or PC. Sometimes some of the more obscure stuff every now and then, like 3DO and Sega CD and stuff like that. I guess Sega CD is not super obscure, but like 3DO and Atari Lynx. And yeah, we just kind of, I think the tone is kind of similar to this, just kind of laid back, just chatting and having fun, talking about stuff that we liked, stuff that was terrible, and that kind of stuff. It's a lot longer than this one, I will say. I think our last or 2 episodes for us, we did one that was an hour and a half, and that was probably our longest here on Cool But Rude. I mean, but on Classic Gaming Podcast, 1.5 is about the shortest we'll ever be.
Yeah.
Usually more like 2.5 or 3. So it's a little bit longer, but it's also less frequent. So
and 89% of that is Final Fantasy.
Yeah, so if you're a Final Fantasy fan, definitely check this out.
Absolutely.
Definitely check it out. Unless you're a fan of Final Fantasy VIII, just skip the ones where we talk about that game.
For the record, what is your favorite Final Fantasy, Robert?
It's a hard question. I'm gonna have to go with 7.
That's a great answer. I mean, I think that's a very classic, solid answer. Like 7.
Yeah, it's maybe the cliche answer.
Sure,
but it's my genuine favorite one of those.
If it's the best, it's the best.
Yeah. But to give a non-cliche, I'll say one of my other very favorites, if not possibly my second favorite, is Final Fantasy 1.
Wow.
Way back.
The OG.
Yeah.
Now, was that like around the time they were doing that weird stuff where it was like different names in Japan and stuff?
Are you talking about the numbering?
Yeah.
No. Final Fantasy 1 is more or less the same Final Fantasy 1 that was in Japan. Like there might have been some tweaks, but it's the same game. The ones that are different are 2 and 3. So the real Japanese 2 and 3 did not come out in the United States. So the numbering gets a little bit weird. So when Final Fantasy 4 came out, the real number 4, Then in the United States, it was labeled as 2. The US did not get 5 either, so when Final Fantasy VI came out, then in the United States, that one was labeled as 3. And then starting with 7, everybody got all the same numbers. So we did not get 2, 3, or 5. I mean, you can get them now.
Right.
There are many releases, most recently the Pixel remasters, where you can get all of them now, but in actual English formats. But originally, those 2, 3, and 5 did not come out in the United States, so the numbering got really weird for us.
Wow. Okay. Mike, did you have a favorite?
10. I mean, that's the only one that I've played extensively. And I love that game. Even if I played any of the others, I think that would still probably be my favorite.
I think
it's a great one.
Yeah, that one stands out hella hard just because it's like PS2, high school, like everything, at least for our generation.
So is that yours too?
It's not. Mine's 9. I don't know why, but it's just I like the animation, the graphics. I don't know, just the playthrough was really cool for me. So I definitely go with 9.
Definitely a solid entry.
Well, we got the Classic Gaming Podcast if you want more Robert, so check that out.
Who doesn't want more Robert? I mean,
more Robert. Yeah, I mean, just listen to him. I mean, you're obviously tuning in for a reason.
There's a 33% chance that I'm the reason that you're tuning in.
Yes.
I guess that's how it works, right?
Right. Yeah. Right on.
All right. Well, you guys ready for talk about this week's episode? You want the rundown?
Mm-hmm.
Give it to me.
All right, here it is. So this is, as Christopher said, Season 2, Episode 3, It Came From Beneath the Sewers. The first crystal fragment of the Eye of Sarnoth is still missing after Shredder ran off with it at the end of the previous episode. The Turtles and April are driving the Turtle Van searching for it, while Donatello uses the crystal locator to allow them to hone in on it. The locator leads them to a small carnival. In Dimension X, Shredder reveals to Krang that he has lost the crystal fragment, as Baxter Stockman accidentally threw it away. Krang reluctantly agrees to help him find it and activates a piece of technology in the Technodrome that pinpoints it for him, leading him to the same carnival to which the turtles have been led. At the carnival, the turtles see the crystal lying on the ground, but before they can get to it, 2 children pick it up. The Turtles and April cannot convince them to hand it over, even with an offer of $3, so they're left trying to figure out how to get it back. While pondering their predicament, they are mistaken for performers and are pulled into a circus act. During their impromptu performance, Shredder and Baxter arrive at the carnival, find the children, and take the crystal fragment. They take it back to their hideout, and while analyzing its molecular structure, they accidentally allow it to come in contact with plant spores from Dimension X. The crystal accelerates the growth of the spores, causing them to mutate into a giant monster plant. Shortly thereafter, the plant attacks the turtles in their home, but as it has not reached its full size yet, the turtles fight it off with a little difficulty. Later, when the turtles have set out to find the crystal once again, April O'Neil receives a note at her apartment door, supposedly from the turtles, saying to meet them at an address by the city docks. When April arrives there, she's kidnapped by Shredder and Baxter, who wrote the note themselves to lure her in. Shredder then calls the turtles on April's turtle communicator, tells them his location, and challenges them to come rescue her. The turtles arrive at the hideout. They break in, disguised as pizza delivery men, run Shredder off, and rescue April. They then see on the news that the giant mutant plant has grown even larger and is attacking the city. They go after the plant and attempt to defeat it, but the plant fights them off and dives into the sewers. The turtles go after the plant once again, but this time before fighting it, they bring in Michelangelo dressed as a female plant to distract it. The other 3 turtles attack it while it's caught off guard, and this time they manage to kill it. The turtles celebrate by eating pizza with no green veggies on it, and April gives them a gift, which is a Venus flytrap that bites Michelangelo on the nose.
Lovely.
Ah, yes.
So, where do we start?
I actually want to start just from the beginning of this episode. I don't know why, but the music was like banging for me. I was like digging like the synth intro, chill wave synth beat, and which would be like, just normal for like the 80s. It almost seems like it was like a something that we've heard before, just like in little pieces, but like this time was like the extended edition. I'm like bobbing my head. I was like, this is cool.
They kind of did a little thing with the visuals too at the beginning, where they kind of like just did a little kind of artistic little introduction, where it's kind of showing a puddle. Remember this part? Like at the very beginning, a puddle on the ground, and the puddle is kind of reflecting the sky really well. And I think you can probably see some buildings in it or something. And then the turtle van drives through it. That's like the entrance of the turtle van in this episode is like, it's just a neat little artistic touch that they didn't have to do, but that just kind of looks neat.
Wow. Somebody was on one in the beginning, like the first like 5 seconds of this episode. They're just like, no, let me just like kind of like, let's just do something good for once.
Yeah. For once.
Something with more meaning than pizza. But no, it was super cool.
And in addition to that, I like how they're still sticking with the continuity thing, just picking up. I mean, I guess they really set themselves up for it last time, but still picking up right where the last episode left off pretty much.
Dude, I was thinking the same thing. I was thinking also to myself, because it's like, they're on the trail of the second piece. They're using the tracker. They're all together. And I was like, this is why it was such a big deal every Saturday morning. You don't miss shit, because if you do, you're going to be in the weeds when you come back next week. And who knows when the reruns are going to happen.
There you go.
So it was critical that you do not miss an episode. Nobody understood that. No adults around you are fathom. Like, why is this kid crying? It's just like, because now I don't know what the hell is going to happen.
Yeah.
Aren't you the one that said you would get angry at the adults because they didn't wake you up or they let you oversleep?
Yes, that was me. Yeah, that is exactly right. And I'd be throwing a little tantrum because I'd be like, "What?" Like,
Understandable.
And yeah, because it's like these kind of series, these kind of cartoons are what we grew up with. It's not like today where I feel like every episode is a self-contained, whatever. Nothing matters to the next, like, day to day. This one was like a huge arc. If you miss something, you're gonna miss something.
Yeah.
This is still the first crystals fragment that they're looking for. Now that gets a little tricky, and I was questioning this myself for part of the episode. But so you remember in the last one, obviously Shredder ran off with the first fragment, right?
Mm-hmm.
Yes.
And then later he tells Krang that he lost it because Baxter accidentally threw it away.
Yeah.
And then Krang says, all right, well, let me pull up this thing. Y'all tell me if I missed something, but Krang says, all right, I'll pull up this thing to help you find it. Boom, there it is. And that's what takes him to the carnival. So that's the first one, or it should still be the first one.
You're right. Like, from the conversation between Shredder and Krang, it makes sense. Like, context clues,
right,
to me say that it's the first one. But I could have swore the turtles were talking about they were finding the second piece. But
did they say that?
I don't know if they actually said it or if I just considered it, because like the last time they saw Shredder and Baxter run off with the first one. So now I figured they would have moved on to the second one.
And the one that they do find at the carnival, it seems to have a different power than the one, because the one that Shredder had shrunk everything, right?
Yeah.
Yeah.
And this one does something completely different, unless they all have different abilities and, powers or whatever.
It does. You're right. And again, this is just me trying to work it out in my own head. My thought was like, we just kind of got contaminated by it and had some kind of residual sort of unpredictable effect. And this is just how it turned out to happen.
Yeah. And I can definitely see that,
But I guess we'll find out maybe in the next one to see like which number they're like. Eventually we'll figure out.
Right. Yeah.
Whether this is supposed to be the second one, they just plot didn't actually really work out the way it was supposed to, or what?
Like there was some issue with the script or something. But yeah, like the writing didn't really discern specifically which one this was.
Burn has it.
So his chick
Burn has it.
Tiffany or whatever her name was. So girls are looking for part of the crystal, we'll just say, or a piece of the ship, and they can't find it. They're using the tracker thing, and it's like totally like taking them in the right place. And meanwhile, April's lamenting, like, oh, like, this is such a great story, like UFOs and aliens and crystals and turtles and all this crap, and I can't tell any of it. And the turtles have to be like, yo, chick, like, calm down. Like, this is a big deal. This is bigger than your story. You can tell it after we get all 3 pieces.
I love how Leonardo actually gets... He seems to, like, actually be annoyed with her. He goes, it's only until we get all the fragments, April.
Yeah. He's just like, cool, pump your brakes, okay? And then Raphael goes in on her and he says something.
Did y'all notice that they can all 5 fit in the front seat now?
I did not, but that's amazing.
And there's no cutout in the back, for the, in the middle. I didn't see a cutout. It's just a solid piece behind them, isn't it?
It's just a solid piece. They can all fit there. Was it 2 or 3 that could fit there before?
It was 2 in the seats,
I remember,
and then one was peeking through the little, the...
One peeking through, yeah, okay. Now they're all...
I didn't even notice.
Now they're all 5.
Yeah, okay.
Wow, nice.
Well, they're all very small.
Yeah,
Did you see how short they are compared to April?
This episode really emphasizes their size, yeah.
Right, I didn't realize they were, portrayed that short. That minuscule. No wonder Bebop and Rexter like picked them up by their necks or whatever.
Ragdolls. Yeah. So the turtles are looking for the other piece of the crystal, and then the tracking device takes them to somehow like a deserted part of New York City with a carnival. And I was like, okay, that's weird. They roll up on it, and they're about to walk in, and April stops them. She's like, you guys can't just walk in like this. And the turtles are like dumbfounded. And Leo even asks, like, oh, do carnivals have a dress code? And she's like, you guys are like a ninja turtle. Like, you look like you're turtles. Like, what are you talking about? And he's just like, and Raphael even pops off. He's just like, oh, yeah, that's what I was wondering why I was green.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Thought it was something I ate.
Yeah, exactly. And then they're like, oh, and then Donatello just like dismisses her, like, oh, we'll just say we're part of the sideshow.
Yeah, that comes back to bite him.
Yeah, we're real smooth Donatello. And did you guys notice like the sad Donatello face when April was like, I think, talking about how she can't use the story? And Donatello just like sits there and looks up at her. Oh, he like sits there and looks up at her.
Oh.
Longingly, like sad, like
oh, poor Donnie.
It's like, it's not even bad news, Donatello. Like, what's your problem?
We might need to keep an eye on Donatello, make sure he's doing all right.
Get to see on some meds or something.
Check in on him every once in a while, yeah.
I really like the carnival music.
Yeah, the carnival music was dope too.
It was like almost recognizable, but a little different from what you expect, and like kind of almost had a slightly creepy.
That's how I felt about
vibe.
it.
Yeah, it was almost like a spook. Like to me, it was almost like a throwback to like Killer Clowns from Outer Space.
That's good, yeah.
Kind of had like that kind of vibe, like that kind of like weird, like creepy horror movie circus music. I don't know, like I said, like from the get go, I thought this music was happening. So turtles go into the carnival, and it's at this point gets over to Krang in Dimension X and does like this panning shot, where it's just like really gives you a layout of how like much of a hellscape this place is. And Technodrome's there, go inside. Krang's explaining to Shredder why he had to bring him back to Dimension X. And he's like, now give me the crystal. And he's just like, I lost it.
It's kind of funny that they just threw that out and didn't show us anything about it. There's like, oh yeah, by the way, in between episodes, it got thrown out.
Right.
Yeah, straight up. And he's just like, what? And he's just like, how did this happen? And I'm like, kind of like wondering that myself.
Same.
Yeah.
Like, what?
Same.
Like, this is kind of like a big deal. And he's like, my idiot assistant. And like Baxter's over there eating like something.
Freaking sandwich, spitting it on the console.
It's like so bad, like this Stockman situation. I'm like, oh my gosh! Like every episode too, like deteriorates in terms of like Stockman's like ability to like as a human function without Shredder. He's just like becoming more and more of his lackey. It's this man is broken,
very submissive,
and he's just like keeps calling him master. It's like really pathetic.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, when did it get to be that that serious of a situation that he's going to call him master from now on? I mean, I know he's working for him and he's kind of bailed him out. And of course, Shredder is evil and scary, but Yeah, he's
I mean,
quite
Bebop and
submissive.
Rocksteady don't even call him master. They call him boss. Or
Right. Well, speaking of Bebop and Rocksteady, one of you guys were saying that you didn't realize Baxter was in his human form as long as he is here, but I also didn't realize that he was kind of Shredder's lackey for as long as he has been. I thought he was at most in maybe 2 or 3 episodes as a human, but also just period. But he's in almost every episode, pretty much Shredder's right-hand man.
I didn't remember that either. Yeah.
No, same way. Like I didn't even realize he was his lackey to this degree.
Mm-hmm.
Like I thought he would be like kind of like maybe did something with the Mousers as a human or something here and there, and then like we all know what happens to him. But
yeah,
it's this whole extendedness with like this weird ass like Stockholm syndrome. I'm like all right, this poor man has been broken.
Baxter Stockholm syndrome.
Wow.
I'll allow it.
You're onto something there. Yeah. And so, Shredder breaks it down for Krang. And then he asks him really kind of sadly, he's just like, I can't beat them without this crystal, which I think is complete BS. It's like, no, you can't beat them because you talk too damn much.
And you never shut up.
Yeah, it's like, there's been several occasions where you could have smoked these fools, but you just had to like do your Bond villain, like the evil plan speech. But Krang agrees to help him. He's like, fine, this last time. He's like, but remember, he does this like epic line.
Yes, please.
He's just like, I'm a ruthless galactic evildoer, not a wet nurse.
Yep.
And I'm like, I didn't even know what a wet nurse was until I was like a teenager.
I had to look it up this episode. I didn't know it still.
Yeah. So it's like, what? Like, who says this?
In a children's show, who says this?
Oh, of all things, yeah.
Like you guys were saying before, that last episode, we felt that they were writing, appealing to the adults. Obviously, no child is going to know what a wet nurse is.
Definitely for somebody above them.
So this joke is, they got a few in this episode that's written for the adults in the room.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, they're definitely shooting above the kids' heads.
Yeah.
So Krang agrees to help him, and buzzer here, button there. And no problem. He's able to find the.
He hits like 2 buttons max and pulls up this thing that can instantly show them where this random crystal fragment is.
Yeah, exactly. And somehow Shredder has got like the place clocked because he's like, I know this place. There's a carnival.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm. Yep.
I thought carnivals were like mobile. And how do you know there's going to be a carnival there right now? Like.
Why does Shredder know that there's a carnival in the first place?
Yeah.
Why does he know this location? I guess all fighting and no play makes Shredder a dull boy.
Well, wow, okay. This guy went highbrow on me. Right away, Shredder's like, oh, I know that place. It's a carnival. Krang tells him, he's like, oh yeah, you're going there. He's just like, I am. It's just like, bro, you just asked where it was. He told you where it was, and then you got a problem with going to go get it? Like, what the hell? What? Like, he's like, yeah, it'll be perfect for you. You'll fit in. You're a freak.
Yeah, that was pretty good. Shredder, like on that note, and we'll get to some of this a little later. Shredder is possibly dumber in this episode than he has been in any other episode so far.
Oh.
He definitely had moments. He had moments.
Yeah.
We'll talk about that especially later. I mean, even from if you pay close attention, if you haven't watched this, if you're just listening, and if you've paid close attention to the little synopsis, you may have had some questions near the end, which, we'll get to that.
Yeah. I can definitely see, like, they dumbed him down a hair. So, at this point, cuts back to the carnival, and Turtles are walking around. And, they stand out, but not, like, glaringly, like, the little girl was just like, what's wrong with those green guys? And she's like, of course, the mom does the whole, like, that's what happens when you don't eat your vegetables.
Mm-hmm.
She's like, where's the spinach? And so, it's like, of course. Then, for some reason, like, you notice Michelangelo isn't with him, and then April notices, like, hey, where's Michelangelo? And he's, like, over here working a carny. He's just, like... batting the softballs at the objects or whatever with his nunchucks. And he's like slaying. He's on like a pile of teddy bears. It's just like, this is so dope.
Yeah.
And he has like a great response because April's like, oh my gosh, like I've been looking for you all over the place. He's like, why? I've been here.
Yeah. Why'd you do that? I was right here.
Yeah, just like winning 100 teddy bears.
And he's just like, oh yeah, I won these all for you. And he dumps a pile of bears on her. And she's like, oh my God, you shouldn't have. But like in that bitchy tone where it's just like, you shouldn't have.
That was pretty funny.
I thought it was awesome. Yeah, there's definitely some cool moments in the carnival. And like, it shows you these two little kids that are like totally 80s out, like little kids, like probably 10-year-olds or something.
Oh, right.
And they get off this ride and they find the crystal. Like it's just laying there in like a tuft of grass. They go grab it and they're like, oh yeah, we can sell it for, like, it's a diamond. We can sell it for tickets. It shows them walking. Of course, it does the trope where like they're walking away with it. And like as they're walking, they walk past the turtles in April. The crystal finder like starts going bonkers and like tells the turtles like, oh, there they are. Like we got to go get them. And Raphael's like, great. What are we supposed to do? Like beat them up? And Michelangelo like doubles down on it. He's just like, I'll take the little one. I was like,
yeah, he like looks like he like pulls out his nunchucks.
Yeah. He's like,
and he gets this like angry look on his face. He's like, I'll take the little one. Like he's ready to go. He's like beat these little kids up.
I was like, this is so cool. He's just
like he legitimately looks angry.
Right. Yeah, like he was serious. Like Raphael was joking, but Mike was just like, nah, jack these kids.
This man's ready. For real.
And he's like, oh wait, they're both little. That was his thing. They were both little, so
yeah.
And I think it's at this point that April goes off to like try and like bribe the kids and get the crystal, and some manager dude, sees the turtles and like mistakes them as performers, and he's like, oh, you guys are like supposed to be on stage like 10 minutes ago. Or he's like, you're up next. And he like takes them and like they have to go perform in like a circus act.
Yeah. Got the clown car.
They had like some like cool tricks. Like they were doing this
cool tricks, like the
flower
plant that you water the flower and it turns giant. Which I didn't even think about this, but do you think that was supposed to be like a foreshadowing thing, or you think that was just on accident?
Whoa.
Didn't think about that.
This whole episode's got all kinds of stuff. Wow.
Anyway, like gets giant and Raphael's on top of it and it shoots him up into the sky. Then there's a ladder. There's like a little tiny ladder.
Yes.
Oh yeah, Mike gets on that.
How does that one grow? They don't water that one, do they?
With the watering can.
Okay, they water the ladder. Okay, and that one grows too. And then they're both up in the air, and Michelangelo gets kicked and goes flying or something like that.
Yeah, it's like is he kicking, or is it like a giant boxing glove, or no, or does he get squirted with like
the water comes out the flower.
Oh, the flower squirts him. Yeah. So like, are we just gonna like glance over these like amazing inventions, like that are just used for like circus props? Like,
and the car too. You know, they drive out in like the clown car, and then they all get out, and then after they get out, the car shrinks down into a little toy car and drives off on its own.
Oh, you know what? I got it. The circus promoter has the crystal. Problem solved. Mystery over. We got it.
That almost kind of works because that is where they find it.
Wow. What if the device pointed them to both pieces and they just realized they only picked up on one?
What's the X-File music? There it is. That's quite accurate.
Yeah. That's perfect.
Yeah.
So yeah, no, the turtles are sitting there. Even Michelangelo's bitching about like, he's like, I feel like a doofus. And he's like, Leo's like, so do I, man, but we got to do it. And Mike gets knocked across the circus ring. He's on a shell, and then April pops out of a corner, or out of some curtains, asking him up for some money. And he's like, is this like a shakedown or what, dude? And she's like, I need the money so I can buy the crystal. Like, do you got it or not, Michelangelo? And he like tries to lie to her and says like, it's in my other shell.
Yeah. He really doesn't want to give up those $3.
Nah, I ain't got no money, dog.
Yeah, like he's like, it was worth a try. And he like hands her a wad of money.
Yeah, this man loaded.
Yeah.
Yeah, so this is the first time we've seen any of them have money. So do they just carry money with them? Like, do they have, I guess they have cash somehow?
I felt that Splinter gives them an allowance. They are teenagers after all.
But where do they get it in the first place?
where does Splinter get sushi? I mean,
Yeah.
at this point,
Sushi.
No, that's a totally different problem. Like, I don't want to know where he gets sushi.
I mean, do we want to know where he gets the money?
I mean, that money makes sense. It's like money falls down the drain, money falls in, like, gets washed away.
I don't know.
This man got like a rat sushi. I ain't trying to mess with that.
Maybe he burrows into places of
Eggs.
business and takes out of the register. I don't know.
So he's a thief. Nice. This whole time, their sensei's been like their actual greatest threat. Somebody, a listener of ours, brought it to my attention that like all these different tropes we've been seeing with Splinter, you know, where he's like sensing things. He's got like, he can feel his students. He's meditating. He knows the way.
Yeah.
Maybe that's like a sixth sense thing that they're playing on because he's a rat. Because like in history, you follow where the rats go if you want to survive.
Oh, really?
Okay.
Because it's just like the rats always try to get away from danger. They try to, because they're survivors. So they're always like scurrying away. If you know you're on a sinking ship, like they get off it first. Like if there's fire, they get away from it. Like, yeah, like even if you watch Indiana Jones, even he's like, follow the rats.
Huh.
So I'm like,
That's interesting.
I mean, like I said, it could be a huge reach. But like, you know, when they brought this to my attention, I was just like,
Yeah.
Yeah. I don't know. I
mean, yeah, I mean, it's a little deep for a cartoon.
It's kind of, it's an interesting thought. Like, I'm willing to get on board with that, you know?
Why not? Yeah, like, and honestly, like, check it out. Don't just take my word for it, but like, yeah, like, look at it, look it up. Even in pop culture, you know, you'll see like shows or whatnot or movies where they're like, where are the rats going? Go with them.
I like it. I like it. True or not, like whether that's intended or not, I like that idea.
Right on. Yeah, I don't know. I think it'd be cool. But anyway, back to what we were talking about. April goes to, she jacks basically Michelangelo, gets the money. But in the meantime, those two kids are wandering around reconsidering their offer. And lo and behold, Shredder shows up and just straight jacks him. He's just like, he ain't trying to bribe me, he ain't trying to buy him off. Takes it, you know, he knocks it out of their hands. And it goes flying. And he's like, oh, blast it. And it's another weird Baxter moment. He catches it. And Shredder's like, oh, like, great catch, Baxter. And he's like, thank you, master. Like, I do have soft hands. Just,
yeah.
Bro, like, you're getting weird.
What?
Stop. Like, and like, Shredder, like, tries to just like go over it, glance over. He's like, yeah, and a soft head to match. And it's just calling him like stupid, you know? I'm just like,
yep.
Calm down there, Baxter. Like,
yeah, that was very weird thing to say.
Yeah, I thought it was odd.
You want to mention the kid basically beating up Shredder?
Oh, yeah.
He stomps on his foot.
That's right. That's what makes him lose it.
And I think, yeah, that's what makes it go flying. And Shredder's like, oh, and then it goes flying. Like, what? Is that all it takes?
I think that's all it takes.
Is that his weakness? Is getting stomped on, getting his feet stomped?
He doesn't do well with smaller things. When the turtles got small, he seems to lose his edge.
Coordination.
Small kids.
Yeah, I mean, they are children of the 80s, as they mentioned.
That was a great line. I liked it.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, that was
pretty
good. Cool. We have another dumb Shredder moment. When the kids ask him where he came from, he tells them from Dimension X in a far off galaxy. I don't think he knows how galaxies and dimensions work.
But that's
I didn't catch that.
And then they're like, we've seen every episode of Star Trek.
Yeah.
Yeah, we went over that.
That they mentioned the name.
So, all right, I have a question for you guys. So, as Christopher just established, Shredder walks up and he just takes the crystal from the kids, right?
Taking candy from a baby.
Yes, that's what he says. Now, so this crystal, we can all agree, is a very important piece of technology, right? Like, potentially world changing.
Yeah.
How would you guys have felt? Personally, me, I would have been okay if the turtles just walked up and took it like Shredder did. Like, I would have been okay with that. What do you guys, would you all have had a problem with it if the turtles were like, sorry kids, like no deal, you just got to give it to us?
No, I don't think I would have.
No?
No, I mean, I feel like Raphael would say some wisecrack and he would just jump to the next scene. Grab the crystal, do like a yoink. Raphael says something clever. And that's that. Kids whine a little bit.
So you would be okay with it?
I would.
You would be? Okay.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. Well, I do think it would probably be maybe a little out of character. I think if they did it the right way, it would definitely work. And it would be the more pragmatic thing, because now the turtles are in a damn circus act and April's trying to like buy it. And unfortunately, it's fallen into the bad guy's hands.
Yeah, I guess you're right, though. It would be pretty out of character if they were just like, hand it over, kid.
Yeah, like maybe if they had done something like bribed them or like, but even then, that's still like kind of like a bargain. Like you're talking like just straight up, like just give me the damn crystal. Like this is above your pay grade.
Yeah, this is too important for us to go jump through all these hoops.
Yeah, exactly. Like I don't got time for this shit.
Yeah, that's what I had in mind. Like one of them would have explained, but it would be over the kid's head. Of course, they wouldn't understand.
Yeah,
why.
And they would have just been like, we've seen Star Trek, and like exactly. Anyways.
Like they wouldn't just, aggressively yank it from them. They would say, I think in my mind, they would lead.
Michelangelo might have.
Oh, yeah, this is true.
Yeah, Mike was ready to do some work.
Maybe one of them just simply does like, oh, look over there. Or something silly, something comical, something lighthearted, not aggressive or mean or anything. Like you were saying, Chris, if they did it right, I think they could work it in there. It will fit the brand of comedy that we've seen so far.
Like in my head, I was picturing them, like picturing Donatello like poke it, like a little poke move with his bow, and like Raphael catches it and does like a smart ass comment, and then that's it. Something like that, like like kind of like Mike says, like he kind of do the thing where they reason with him at first, like hey, hey, I know you guys like this, but would you rather see the world get shrunk? Okay, then give me the damn crystal. And then if they like, obviously they're going to resist. I'm like, no, we're kids of the 80s. It's like, okay, well, you're going to get jacked like the 80s.
I think you're right. It would have been out of character, but from a moral perspective, I would have been okay with the turtles just being like, sorry, this time there, no ifs, ands, or buts. We're taking it from you.
Right. Yeah.
Break yourself.
Yeah. Break yourself. Yeah. So we go back to the lair where Baxter and Shredder are examining the crystal that they've, relinquished to the children of. Somehow, like the crystal gets like overcharged or something, and it pops out of its like stasis and bonks Shredder's boot. Where at this point, Shredder calls once again Baxter like an idiot. He's a clumsy fool. Could have broken it, and you ruined my shine. Which I was like,
yeah,
like low key, like under breath. Disgruntledness. He's like, man, you fucked up my shoes.
Stepped on my J's.
They come to the discovery like there's like this weird slime on it that came from Shredder's boot.
Yeah, how convenient for the plot.
yeah, straight up. Is some sort of fauna from like Dimension X or flora from Dimension X.
Yeah.
And that it's like been activated by the crystal. So it's like, is this another part of the first crystal's powers, or is this the crystal number 2's power?
Yeah.
Making things kind of like,
we don't know.
Go psychotic.
Right.
And they come up with an idea to use this thing to chase the turtles, basically.
Yeah, get the giant plant to, because the thing starts kind of multiplying or growing, the spores or whatever, makes a giant plant. Do you guys think it's kind of weird that they went through all this plot stuff to get a mutant plant where we already have mutagen? Why didn't they just say, oh yeah, they dumped mutagen on a plant? Instead they're examining a crystal, they drop it, it bounces off, hits some like sludge that's on Shredder's shoe. They put it in an incubator. Yeah, it's like they go through all these.
It was an ordeal.
All these steps where they could have just written it as like Baxter Stockman pours mutagen on a plant.
But do they have access to the mutagen still?
I imagine so.
I don't
Well,
think they
maybe
do,
not. Maybe not, because that's
Right.
I guess Krang's got that, doesn't he? Yeah, okay.
And also, we know the properties of, well, to a degree, we know how the mutagen works. And this would have been this kind of would have been out of character for the way what the mutagen does.
Oh, yeah, because it wouldn't just make a giant plant. It would make like a plant person.
Yeah.
Well, assuming a person was the last thing to touch the plant.
Shredder.
Yeah, true.
Yeah. Have you ever thought about there's nothing there, as far as I know, there's never a like, oh, here's a mutagen of a, like a cockroach and a monkey. It's the human was always the last thing to touch or be touched by whatever the mutagen is hitting.
Yeah, it's always like a human variant.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's true.
I would definitely like to see them start doing some real, like Jeff Goldblum
Just
type
like
shit.
roll the dice,
yeah.
just roll the dice and see like what two animals you get and make that.
Yeah, let's take the rhino and the boar and just leave out the human.
Wow.
All right, here's a question. What if a human got mutagen on them and the last thing they touched was another human?
Wow.
Always thought about that.
Do they just stay?
I've never thought about that.
Really? You've always
Yeah.
thought about that? Well, what's your thought then? Because you've clearly given this more thought
you
than
put some depth into it.
As a kid, and
You thought about this as a kid?
I actually am surprised that you guys did not.
No, this has never crossed my mind until just now.
We weren't like child geniuses. You go on, please.
Fucking mad scientist over here.
No, I was just curious. That just seemed like a natural point of curiosity that would have come up. I guess not. Maybe I was just
twirling his like imaginary mustache, like
yeah.
Imagine, like little kid Mike just sitting in his room, like like deep in thought about this.
Well, I mean, I was a special child, as we have heard in the past. I drew a picture of what I thought it was, as a kid, I remember. And it was just a real big human and unfortunately a child mind. It started looking like Krang's android body. But it was, in my mind as a child, it was always a bigger human, like a big human. So that's not a very exciting answer, but that was my childhood answer.
Okay.
Genius child. Imaginary mustache. Wow.
Yeah.
Not quite.
So yeah, after they come up with the scheme of the giant plant to attack the turtles, we cut to the turtles having regrouped back at the sewer. They're talking, I think they're talking to Splinter at this point and explaining like how they were close, but they couldn't find it. And that now the crystal detector finder is running low on energy. And Mike's like, oh, I'll just go pick up some batteries. No problem, dude. And he does like this little like cool motion or whatever.
Oh, yeah. The motion was. I'm glad you saw that.
Yeah, he's just like, oh, yeah. He's like, oh, I'm out. I'm like, dude, is this guy stoned? Like,
I don't know if I saw this move.
It was great, man.
It was cool.
Little dance or whatever.
Yeah, it's almost like the Egyptian thing. But yeah, he does that. And then Raphael's just like, what are you talking about, dude? Like, you think they're going to have like batteries for this thing? And like somehow like he knows how to open it and like finds the battery for it.
This man knows where the compartment is.
Yeah.
I've had hard enough time opening the remote control to my TV.
Right.
Yeah, this dude can just like open this like intergalactic crystal and finds the power source. And apparently it's quadruple Z size batteries. So,
is that a Radio Shack, I think?
Oh yeah, that's your go-to. And it's at this point the giant vine starts breaking through the wall. Like,
real quick, we talked earlier about dumb looking, like funny looking faces that the turtles made in this one. This is where the one that I caught was.
Oh boy!
When I'm going to send it to you. No, but I'm sending you. I just took a picture of my screen. It's when Raphael pulls a little battery out of it. And he's just kind of holding it like, oh yeah, we can get a battery. We can get one of these at the store or whatever. And Donatello does this. He does like a very excited face looking at it.
I have this.
But and he's doing like this really weird pose where he's like bending down kind of, and he's got his hands on his knees.
Yes.
Hey, he looks, and he's got the biggest smile on his face, and his eyes are wide open. He looks.
I took that same screenshot. I cropped it out. Wow. Yeah, it's the exact same.
Okay.
I was looking. I was like, why is he so into this? Like, I know he's into tech. Like, I think Mike is actually wondering the same thing by the look on his face. He's like, what is up with Donatello? Like,
this man's into it.
Yeah.
Ooh, shiny.
Michelangelo like turned into a different person for a minute. I mean, I mean Donatello.
Oh yeah, his whole personality like completely shifted. I was like, what? But yeah, that was one of a couple that I saw.
I love it.
It's just after Donatello's oddness, a giant plant vine breaks through the wall and starts attacking, and it goes directly for Michelangelo.
This is what I was going to ask, Robert. What was the tracker that you started? Is it, because this is becoming ridiculous.
It's not just things busting through walls. It's things busting through walls and waking up Splinter.
Okay.
That's very specific, but that's still a long list.
Right. So, isn't this getting to be, this has to be a running joke among the writers, because every single time.
Kind of, but also isn't that kind of like an easy action thing to have on a kid's cartoon? It's like, oh, bad guy busted through the wall.
Oh yeah.
Exactly.
Yeah.
I mean, I guess it kind of makes sense why we were kind of commenting a couple episodes ago about their lair always changing, and we're seeing rooms we've never seen before. They can't settle down anywhere because every time they settle, something busts through the wall and tear their house up.
I can find a new.
This is I don't know. I want a counter of just wall busting.
Just busting walls.
Just busting walls.
Yes. Yeah. So, walls busted, and we got this giant vine coming. It goes right from Mike. And I thought it was actually pretty cool, or funny at least, because Mike's like, what are you doing? Like, I'm green too. And Raphael was like, yeah, but your face is blue. Because he's getting like strangled by this giant vine.
Strangled.
And then they start they spring into action to try and save him. And they go and Leo goes and slices the vine and lets Mike go. And I swear when this happened, I heard ouch in the episode. I heard the audio.
I think I did too.
I was like, what the hell? This plant talk? Then it goes for April, and Donatello just throws his bow staff at it and just bruises the vine. Apparently that's enough to get it to let go. And it retreats after this small altercation. And even Raphael's yo, I could have sworn it said ow or ouch.
Right.
And did he say that? I didn't remember
Raphael
that.
even picks up on it. He's like, yeah, but then Michelangelo's like, no, I think you heard me. Nah, bro, that plant's talking. Then he's Splinter, puts his 2 cents in. He's just like, oh, it must have come from Dimension X. There are all kinds of weird things there. I'm like, bro, you haven't even fucking been to Dimension X. You don't know what you're talking about. What? Now you're just talking out of your ass.
That's funny. I didn't think about that. Yeah, he is just completely talking out of his ass now. Oh yeah, Dimension X. You guys just don't understand.
It's what? We've been closer to it than you have.
Yeah. That's really good.
And then April, they decide oh, we're gonna go ahead and we're gonna go check this out and find out track the crystal some more. And April's like, oh, I'll go with you. And they're no, you need to go away, go back to your apartment, be safe, you're a girl. And I thought it was odd because she is complaining. She's like, you guys get to do all the fun stuff. And I was like, chick, a week ago you were bitching about how you couldn't get away from these fools. And you want to get to your apartment and you're kidnapped basically. And now you're over here I want to go. Be consistent.
Yeah, come on, April. Make up your mind.
And so she's chilling at her place. And Irma.
With Irma.
They have the secretary. Irma's going on hinting about how she can't find a date, can't find a man or whatever. And that's why they're both sitting there. And April's like, no, chick, I'm waiting on a call. And she's like, oh, is it from a guy? A gentleman? And she's like, I don't know any guys, gentlemen.
All this woman do is talk about men and hooking up. Her entire character has to be meant for the adults in the room.
I guess so.
Because that no child is going to get the concept of girl talk. You know, this is clearly for
guys in the city.
Yeah.
Yeah, no, 100%. I didn't even think about that, but yeah, like this chick is just there for that kind of like who are you appealing to? Like, and especially like 8-year-old little boys, like they don't give a shit about this character.
No.
Very specific comic relief.
Yeah, it's just like what demographic is for? Is this like the 30 and over single female? Yeah, so and then there's like a knock at the door, and there's like this note that says "Meet us here," signed Turtles, and it's like some crazy address. And she's like, "Oh, it's the Turtles," blah blah blah. And Irma goes on about like, "Oh, it's like you're always talking about the Turtles, like, are you sure they're even real?" And she's like, "Sure, like, yeah, I made them up. They're faking my imagination. I gotta go. Peace." And she like straight up dips out.
Mm-hmm.
And I was like, "Wait, isn't this your crib?" Like, but she's like, "What ups?" And leaves Irma behind.
Yeah, she doesn't mind it. She doesn't mind if she trusts Irma, I guess.
Yeah.
Did y'all think it was? I mean, this was kind of dumb of April, right?
Yeah.
She could have at least called them and been like, hey, "Did you guys leave this note?"
That's a good point.
And like, why didn't you just
call me? Like,
call
didn't
me
we talk
or
about you were gonna hit me up on the communicator? Or
Right.
so I think they even prefaced her leaving with like, "We'll hit you up, not drop a note off at your door."
Yeah, and if they were going to do that, they would at least, knock on the door and tell her in person, not just leave a note.
Yeah, what the hell? Yeah, April.
And
definitely.
Not only that, but then she gets to this creepy ass like place by the docks in an alley, and she's like, "Well, I guess this is where they wanted me to meet. I'll go right in."
She's like, "Guys, are you here?" And of course, no, but I am. It's like Shredder and like gangster grabs her, and he's like, "Baxter, where are your manners? Get a chair for Miss O'Neill." He like puts her in this chair, and she's all like strapped into it like a damn electric chair. He like starts rifling through her purse, finds her communicator, and it's like now she's got the modern communicator.
Mm-hmm.
Is this the one you guys were talking about last time?
This is the one I don't like, but yeah, I think like this is the one I saw.
Yeah, this is the new one. Yeah,
yeah, the current one. Yeah, Shredder like hits up the Turtles, and they're like, "Oh, April, is it you?" And he's like, "Far from it." And it's like, "Oh snap, it's on." And like Donatello instantly gets pissed off. You get to see his face. He like insults Shredder. I forget what he calls him.
Metal-faced misfits.
Metal fist. He's like, "You better." Shredder like snaps back. He's like, "You better put some respect on my name. Like, I got your friend April here. Okay, you need to want to know what's up. She's a hostage." And like holds the phone, like the communicator, up to her, and she like mumbles into it because she's gagged. And Raphael's like, "Oh yeah, that's her. I know that mumbling anywhere."
Did you notice when he calls them up on the communicator and it shows them in the van and it's ringing? Leonardo, for some reason, gets very excited about it. He goes, "The turtle communicator!"
No, I
didn't get that.
It's like, dude, it's just ringing. Like, you don't know anything's going on right now. It's just April. Theoretically, it's either just April or Splinter calling you. But he yells out, "The turtle communicator!" Like, something crazy is about to happen.
And like, it's good news. It's like, bro, every time that thing rings, it's like terrible news. Like, what are you talking about? Like,
that's a good point.
They're never like, "Hey, guess what? I killed Shredder." They're like,
"Guys,
I got a raise
pizza at the house."
Exactly.
Like, "Oh, okay, like."
Yeah.
To be fair, Donatello did try to call that one time with good news about the turtle blimp, but Raphael brushed him off because he was in the midst of battle.
Yep.
Yes, he was.
So he tried,
Yeah, he was like, "Yeah, I'm a little busy right now." He's like, "Okay."
I thought it was cool how they had the split screen
conversation.
Conversation.
Oh, yeah.
That was kind of cool. For some reason, it felt like a little advanced for me. I don't know if that was the thought that went through my head. Like it was a little advanced for this cartoon, but I don't know.
Yeah,
like
that was cool.
I don't know if I feel like it was advanced, but I definitely thought it was a very nice move, like very polished. I was like, "Oh, that's a cool trick."
Polished. Yeah, that's a good move. That's a good word.
Mm-hmm.
So he's like, "Yeah, you guys better get here," and he gives them his address. So they roll up, and they're like trying, like, "We can't just like go in there without a plan. We gotta figure something out." And at this time, like Mike's like, "Maybe we should have like a pizza break." And all the turtles yell at him.
This struck me as odd, yeah.
Well, part of me is like, like, man, he's really playing into his pizza trope. Like, I like it because it's like the whole episode he's been talking about being hungry, wanting pizza. And so I was like, all right, I'm cool. I actually thought it was kind of cool. Like, all right, they're making Michelangelo really be the pizza one.
Yeah, that's kind of how I felt about it too. Yeah.
Well, I mean, it was odd that the rest of the turtles, just to me though, in my mind, that they yelled at him like they were surprised that this man is talking about pizza all the time. I thought that they were always gung ho for pizza, even in the most inappropriate times. You know.
I know. I feel like it's Michelangelo who's always up for it at inappropriate times, and the other ones are more are a little bit.
Okay, I guess.
Yeah.
That makes sense.
But due to Michelangelo always being into pizza, it was actually a great spark, you know, that gave him a great idea.
Yes.
As Leonardo put it, and Mike unknowingly acknowledged, he's like, I did. And so they roll up, which was, in my opinion, a goddamn terrible idea, but
yeah.
They walk up dressed as pizza delivery guys.
All four of them.
First thing that caught my attention was like, when have you ever had four pizza guys deliver?
You have to have one guy for each pizza.
That's normal.
Yeah.
I didn't even think about that. I don't know how I missed that, but that's amazing.
That was the first thing I saw. I was like, what?
That's how my Little Caesars comes. I mean,
yeah. Order 4 pies. I need 4 people. I'm gonna make that request next time. I was like, can I have one person per pizza?
How dare you? And record the aftermath.
So they roll up on this, like, you know, the warehouse, knock, say like special delivery, which whatever. And Baxter, like, Shredder tells Baxter, he's like, go check it out. Baxter like goes through the peephole and he's like looking at it. And he's like, oh, it's like 4 green pizza boys. And Shredder's like, I don't remember ordering pizza.
Yeah, Shredder is actually confused by this. Listen, please note that.
Yeah.
He's like, oh, I don't remember ordering pizza like you just said.
Is that your other dumb Shredder moment?
That's one of them, yes.
Oh, that's more. Yet. Okay, great.
Yeah.
This man is not doing well this episode.
No.
I think he, Baxter opens it, or like they just barge in. I forget what happened, like exactly how they get in, but like they go through the door, and the first thing they do is just like slap Baxter. Like Mike slaps him in the face with a hot pizza. Like this amazing line. Baxter's like in complete anguish. He's just like, I can't see.
Yeah, that was the plan, dude.
Yeah, exactly. I was like, you just. I've had hot pizza like fall off.
Yes,
this shit is hot. Okay, like
yes, more 3rd degree burns.
It's like you just scalded this man's face. Like,
yep. First it was Burn with the turtle soup, and now it's Baxter with the piping hot pizza.
Another tracker, 3rd degree burns tracker.
Food used as weaponized food. Yeah,
there you go.
It's like I don't know. I couldn't get off it for like. With Baxter for a minute, like just like my eyes. So he's like scalded. The couple of the turtles have a quick like back and forth like with Shredder. Like he takes a shot. He's got like this cool pistol, by the way. And he takes a shot at him and like blows this big ass crater in the floor. And then like he hits Michelangelo's pizza. He's just like, oh, like anybody want their crust extra well done? And I think Don throws his bow staff and like disarms Shredder.
This bow's for you, Shredder.
There you go.
Clearly, a reference to this bud's for you. A beer slogan. Wow. So once again,
oh, I didn't catch that, but yeah, I guess so.
Dang. And is it just me, or are we finding Donatello throws his bow more than he uses it to fight? Like,
because he does seem to throw it quite a bit.
But the problem with that, though, is like now this man's disarmed.
Yeah.
Not true.
I remember as a kid, you get the toys and they have shurikens and all that shit.
Like, exactly.
Like, dude, you're ninjas. Like, well, use some of this shit.
Mm-hmm.
Do we ever see them throw shurikens?
I haven't seen shurikens get thrown since since the first episode, and that was Foot Soldiers.
Oh yeah, okay, right.
And they like heat-seeking the shurikens.
Okay.
Yes.
Yeah, I don't recall any other times that I can remember.
Well, we do have our, what is this? This is our 12th pizza. Pizza with extra olives.
Yes.
Shredder pipes in.
Yep, he says it'll take more than a pizza with extra olives to stop me.
I don't know why that's funny though. He's just like totally dismissive of their whole like identity. He's like, man, fuck your pizza. He's like, if I work on my simp Baxter Stockman over here.
Wow.
But it ain't gonna work on me.
That's good.
And so, but eventually though he gets disarmed. He grabs Baxter by the back of his coat, who's still got like melted pizza on him, who's looks like he's getting deformed, and like they jump out the window. Turtles rescue April, and it's at this point I think they realize or they see something on the TV where the plant is now grown immensely and is now attacking the city.
Yeah, it busts through the street.
Yeah, it's like taking over the city.
Yeah. At 16:45, I don't know if it was part of the music. I listened to it like 3 times, and I'm pretty sure that this is what I heard. But the plant grabs like a cargo truck or something, right, just sitting on the street. And as it grabs it, I swear you can hear like a man screaming.
Jeez.
And then they pull it off camera, off the screen or whatever. And then the plant slams it into the ground and the truck explodes. And then the screaming stops.
Wow. I have to watch this again.
Wow.
I hope this is real.
If that's accurate, then they just killed a man.
Straight up just killed him.
We know the turtles don't have a problem killing people. Like they've attempted murder several times. So
they have tried to.
And to beat up children. So
yeah, they're down for that too. Yeah.
So I have a question. What in the hell was Shredder's plan during this whole thing? He captures April, tells the turtles to come get him, is surprised when the turtles come, and then he runs away when they get there.
That's I don't know. Because like we missed it, but I had skipped the part, but you backtrack a little further. They had kind of like abandoned the plant plot. Like Shredder and Baxter were like annoyed at how like slow the plant was taking. So he's like, screw this, I'm gonna come up with a plan B, which is another moment where Shredder insults the hell out of Baxter. And he even acknowledges it. He's like, you don't have to be so cruel, man.
So cruel.
yeah, that part was good.
He said, brilliant deduction, Baxter. I sometimes wonder how that little pinhead of yours manages to hold all those great big brains. All the man said was, well, this isn't working, so, let's come up with another plan. That's all he said.
I think he's kind of like projecting from Krang.
Yes.
He's like,
yes.
He's like had to deal with it so much himself that the only thing he can do to make himself feel better is to start doing the same things that Krang would do.
That makes sense.
He's got to punch down.
But yeah, anyway, I'm very confused as to what Shredder was trying to accomplish during this whole entire ordeal.
That's a good point.
Yeah, I mean, maybe it was just an excuse for the writers to have like once again a showdown like with Shredder. It seems like every time he's in an episode, they gotta have like some sort of like bad confrontation.
Oh yeah, they definitely do. And for that matter, why did the turtles have to disguise themselves to come in? Because Shredder told them to come, so they would have just let him in anyways.
Yeah, but I think like they even mentioned that like they were under the impression there's gonna be all kinds of booby traps.
Oh yeah, that's true. Yeah,
I mean that was their reasoning. I mean I can't speak for them. I'm just saying what they said. This whole scene, like this part was just so like what? None of this shit makes sense.
Yeah.
It was very entertaining. I enjoyed it immensely, obviously, but yes, it was just so like pointless.
Oh, and I would also like to note that I've made an amendment to the pessimistic This isn't what it's called, but the pessimistic Splinter quotes.
Okay.
What is it? Splinter giving up.
Yes. Okay.
I'm changing it now to Splinter and Leonardo just giving up.
Thank you.
Oh yeah,
Because okay, you caught this too when they said there's as Christopher mentioned, they see on the TV the thing of the plant is now attacking the city. Donatello says, we got a bigger problem now. We got to stop this plant from destroying the city. Leonardo goes, turtles, I'm not so sure we can. It makes a sad face. Like, dude, you haven't even tried yet, and you're just saying you don't think you're going to be able to do it?
yeah.
Oh. No, I'm glad you caught that, Leo. I was wondering if anybody felt that was kind of out of character.
Oh, definitely. I was just like, man, talk about like just giving up.
We know how he's like such a suck up to Master Splinter. Maybe that's his thing now. He's like seen Splinter give up in all these other situations. He's like, oh, that's what Master Splinter would say.
Master Splinter would just give up. I should too. Damn. Wow. Like, shouldn't you be trying to redeem yourself because of last episode? Because like you told him you failed, and he acknowledged it. So he didn't even do like a there. He was just like, yeah. So
yep.
At this point, the turtles like spring into action. They get in the turtle van. They're like out there and they're like gonna attack this plant and like battle stations or whatever they say. And Raphael takes the jump seat basically.
Yeah. Battle stations, everyone is what Leonardo says.
And Raphael,
which basically means just Raphael getting the gun seat.
Yeah. He's like getting the gun seat, and he's in there. He's just like, he's kicking ass. And he's like, and blows a bunch of like limbs off of the plant, like vines. And Donatello's like, bullseye, Raphael, and that's it. That's all they do. They shoot some vines, and then they roll down an alley. They get confronted by like the head of this thing, the root of it, and it's just like, oh man, it's like, and then it like rips the bumper off their van. And they don't fight it. Like, they don't shoot at it. Like, they literally have laser weapons. Mm-hmm. Wasn't this your plan? Like shoot this thing.
Yeah, you got the gun. Yeah, that's what the guns are for.
Blow this thing away. But no, they just had to get out of the van.
Exactly. Why did they get out?
And fight it with melee weapons. Ninja weapons. Which, I get it. You're Ninja Turtles. You got to do your thing. But, come on. And they get their asses handed to them.
At least they yelled turtle power this time, and they didn't try to come up with some new thing.
They've one of the best catchphrases they have.
They did like you all requested. They just left it at the turtle power. They didn't add anything extra. So I take it you guys were okay with this.
I thought it was great.
Good.
Okay.
Yeah.
I was very fine with it.
So I have a question here in this scene.
I do too.
I wonder if it's the same thing.
Probably.
Does it involve Michelangelo and Raphael?
Yes.
Okay, you go ahead and ask.
No, you got it. You got this.
Okay, so when they're facing up against the head of the plant, right? Okay, they're doing the stupid thing and they engage in battle, and immediately the plant gets the better of them. It tosses a garbage can over Leo's head and it picks Michelangelo up and tosses him.
Mm-hmm.
And you see Raphael in the front, at the front of the battle, right in front of the plant, fighting. The very next frame, they have Michelangelo rubbing his butt saying, "Thanks a lot, Raphael." But Raphael did nothing. I didn't. Is this?
Yeah. What did Raphael do?
I think that's the point. Like, he didn't do anything. He's just like, "Thanks for backing me up, bro." Like,
but he was trying to fight. He was trying to fight the plant.
Yeah.
I got to rewatch it maybe, but like,
yeah,
I really feel like I only saw Leo and Mike engage, and Don and Raphael not.
No.
You think that was like thanks for the like a sarcastic like thanks for the help, and not like, because to me it came across as like thanks for like tossing me on my ass.
Right.
No, it came from like thanks for nothing.
Okay.
Well, it was Raphael in the front. Him and Donatello were at the front. Immediately before they could even reach the plant, it took out those two, Leonardo and Michelangelo. So Raph was engaged. And another thing that made it kind of weird, I think I probably looked into this a little bit much, but in that frame where Michelangelo is, talking, the frame prior to that, like I said, Raphael is in front of Michelangelo. And once the plant tosses Mikey, backwards to the back of the alley, Raphael is just standing there behind Michelangelo. So I'm almost wondering if there was like a missing scene or two here that
was what I wondered. I wondered if there was something that got cut.
Right. Okay. You were thinking that. So yeah, Chris, you should go back and look at that, man. Cause it was very weird. Just very odd.
Okay. Yeah. I mean, maybe, who knows? Maybe there's deleted scenes out there.
Deleted scenes or something. Yeah.
That'd be cool. But all right, I'll check it out again. Because to me, it just came across as like, thanks for nothing. Yeah. It's just
right.
like, I just got my ass kicked. What were you doing?
Maybe it is that, but yeah, it did seem kind of weird.
So, and like afterwards, like the plant, like, dips down into the sewers, and like Leonardo looks like straight pissed. Like, I mean, yeah, he did get a garbage can thrown on him, but like, I don't feel like he looks like this most of the time. But he was like annoyed, and then like they realize it goes down into the sewer, and that's when Michelangelo like loses his shit.
Michelangelo loses it. I'm glad you noticed this too.
Yes, he does.
Yeah, like he likes this. It's like, oh, like it went into this, like, didn't he say like the sanctity of our home or something?
He goes, and like very seriously, it's not in like an action way, and it's not in a funny way. He's straight pissed. He goes,
he's like violated. Yeah.
Yeah. He goes, invading the sanctity of our happy home. This time it's gone too far. Yeah.
I'm glad you did it like that. That's exactly how it
Very
was.
nice. Very nice.
And the thing is, stuff busts through their wall and mess with their house all the time anyway. Like, this is nothing new.
But this is what made him crack. Like,
Yeah, this is one too many. Oh.
And they're all just kind of standing around. They're not all like, yeah, like it's like he yells out, and they all just kind of like look at him.
Like, all right.
Yeah, that was great. That was a good one.
That was my favorite single quote from the episode, just because the delivery and him getting all worked up and yelling, and everybody else just like standing around, kind of like, huh?
I'm gonna say mine was still the Baxter Stockman. I can't see.
Okay, that's a really good one too.
Yeah,
I was like, this poor man's blinded, like. But so the turtles follow the plant into the sewer. I don't know, after Michelangelo's passionate war cry, they go into the sewer after it, and apparently they meet up with Splinter again, and he kind of gives him his, like, his moment of wisdom that you must search. And I don't know if once again this was like some sort of play on words or pun. He's like, you must find the root of the problem. And they're like, oh yeah, the root.
he was speaking in riddles the entire time.
Yeah, he was.
Yeah, like, can you just like tell us?
That's yes.
Like I understand, like, you want to like teach us some shit, but it's like, like we got some serious things going on. Like, you can do this afterwards.
This
like,
is an urgent matter.
This is actually an urgent situation, Master Splinter. Because he also says, and I'm sure both of you guys caught this, but like right after that he says, they're like, huh? And he goes, every journey, like even the longest journey begins with a single step, and that means like they're supposed to like look at the ground and follow like the tracks of the plant stuff that's on the ground or something like that. And like, so yeah, he's completely speaking in riddles, and they're like, oh, I see, we need to do this and that.
It's like, bro, quit waxing philosophy. Like, people are dying, okay, while you're fucking around with this speech. Like,
a man in a cargo truck has already lost his life.
Yeah, did you see the news? Didn't you see it? They almost kill us, and you're just over here. So then they find like some like slime track on the ground, like from the plant, and they decide to follow it. And I don't know why, but it struck me as like super weird, like, because it kind of segues to like this almost like Scooby-Doo kind of moment where they're like walking through the sewer.
Oh yeah, the walking scene. That's a good call.
And this caught my eye, and I was just like the way they have Raphael portrayed. What? Like, oh, he's like scared out of, like, witless. Like, excellent. The other two are like serious, intent, And
I see. Yeah, oh my gosh, this is good.
Do you have a like marker for the audience by chance?
Yeah, actually I do. This is at about 1909. to like 1910.
Perfect.
You can see this.
He's worried about this.
Oh yeah, he does not want to be going where this plant's going.
Oh.
And they roll up onto a dead end. But of course, it's not like it's not just a dead end. It's where the plant breaks through and attacks them again.
Once again, breaking through the wall.
Breaking through, yep. But if you noticed, there was only 3 turtles. You have Raphael, Donatello, and Leonardo.
Oh boy.
And they're about to fight this turtle, this plant, and it grabs Donatello and it's like pulling him away. And like they let this happen just so that they can have like this introduction where they call out Flora.
Right. They let this happen. I didn't think about that.
Yeah, they're like, no, like let Don, like it's part of the whole act. And like they call Flora, who's like basically it is literally Michelangelo in like plant drag.
This was a sight.
Dressed up as a hot babe plant.
And the whole time, like he's complaining how not cool he feels, which I understand. If you see this, you wouldn't either. He goes in there and he's like literally getting molested by this plant. It's like using its vines to like go under his chin and like
it says coochie coo.
Coochie coo, and his brothers are doing shit the entire time. They're like, oh look, Michelangelo, you're into it, like blah blah blah. And then he's just like I don't know, I just thought it was like jacked up.
Yeah, it was.
There was some great puns here. Michelangelo says, I bet you do this to all the growths. That's one. Then Raphael says, you two could make beautiful mulch together.
Yes.
I love these couple puns here.
Nice little plays there. And I forget what like the trigger is, but then they decide to like spring into action and start kicking this thing's ass. And they're all doing like this attack and they're fighting it. And once again, there's like the scene. I caught it and I was like, what the hell? Because Leonardo goes in for like, he sees the root of the, and he's like, oh, we gotta kill it. And he goes in for the kill. But while he's doing that, the other 3 are fighting it. And I was just like looking at like the way the other 3 are fighting. What's Donatello doing? And this is at 2040.
Okay. I'm glad you posted this.
Flying through the air.
He's like just hovering. Like
yes. I rewound this part because I thought the same exact thing. I'm like, wait a minute. He's not on the ground. I
can't believe y'all noticed this.
Yeah, because like you said, Chris, he's hovering here, and I rewound it. And I don't know, maybe I didn't rewind it enough, but I saw a point where he was doing this exact same motion, but he was on the ground. His feet were on the ground. Now you've posted this, so he was, and he's not being grabbed by the plant or anything.
No, and like it's not from he was like standing on the ledge.
Maybe he is being grabbed by that one that's kind of behind Michelangelo's hat.
Oh, maybe around his leg. Okay.
I don't know.
But
man,
to the listeners, it's like all 4 are attacking the plant. It's a scene of all 4 of them attacking. It's like from the plant's point of view, kind of. Mm-hmm. We're looking at the turtles. They're facing the camera. The plant kind of like vines are coming from the camera at them. Raphael is riding one and stabbing it with his size. Leonardo has his sword like up, but he's not really doing much yet. Michelangelo is still in plant drag, and he's swinging his nunchuck at one of the vines.
Yeah, but he's using like both hands, like to like hold
with both
the
hands.
nunchuck.
Yeah, he's
like beating
once again double handing the nunchuck, and then Donatello, as they said, it basically looks like he's just floating in the air, holding his bow staff, like about to whack it. But I think that one is supposed to be holding his leg. But it doesn't really explain how he's just still like supporting his whole body like that.
Posture, yeah.
But I can like when I see a scene like this, like I can't pick out what did that turtle like. I just see the turtles are going at it. Like I just take it in as a whole, and I don't really notice the individual things going on.
You gotta start. You miss out on some really funny stuff.
I know. Yeah,
this is the first one where I was like really like, wait, what the hell?
Yeah.
But yeah, that was so everybody 20-minute, 40-second mark. You can see the amazing Donatello Copperfield. But just after this, Leo, who isn't really doing much or wouldn't seem to be contributing, is actually straight up like preparing to go for the killing shot. And after this, he goes and he stabs the root. And he's like, I think Michelangelo calls him a vine fellow. And it like melts into like nothing. And like the animation kind of like somehow the sword just melts along with it into the ground.
Yes.
I was like, that's kind of
Leonardo's sword does?
Yeah,
I didn't catch that.
So it goes from like being stuck in the plant to now being stuck in the cement.
It did look like that.
And that's it. That's the villain of the day has been defeated. And
yeah, he straight up killed it.
Oh yeah, this thing, they murdered the shit out of this thing. And they go, it cuts them, back at home, surrounded all around the table, chowing down on some pizza that Donatello calls dynamite. And I wouldn't know what to call this kind of pizza, like maybe like a meat lovers or something, because they're eating it and he's like, what's on this, Michelangelo? He's like, everything but green veggies.
This is our 13th pizza, yeah.
So how would you record this, Mike? Because this,
if the will of what did you call it? Pizzality or whatever.
Pizzality, yeah.
Yeah. If it happens to land on this, I take it that we would have to order Super Supreme or the works, whatever pizza has the most toppings on it, and then we probably have to do a custom thing, but take off all of the like green peppers, jalapenos, anything green of that nature.
Green.
So that's what I was thinking. It's basically a supreme pizza without green peppers.
I'll take it. I'll take that all day.
Right, for real.
Oh, yeah.
I mean, please, one day I hope we land on this because then I can just have a normal pizza.
Yeah.
Straight up.
And I got other man's green peppers. But compare that to like jelly beans and peanut butter. I'll do that shit.
Yeah.
They're all eating the pizza, and like Michelangelo is like, oh yeah, everything but green veggies. And for some reason, Leo has to be like Captain Obvious, and he's like, yeah, because of that plant we just fought.
I didn't catch that.
I didn't either.
And then April walks in. She's like, oh hey fellas, I thought I'd bring you a plant. Every place needs a plant, because they're like, why? We just had to like fight this like man-eating creature.
Yeah, why out of all times, April, are you bringing us this now?
As we find out, Michelangelo's like, oh, what kind of plant is it? And he like gets up close to it and it bites him in the face. She's like, a Venus flytrap. Ha ha. And it had like teeth. Like it's like a Venus flytrap, which is actually pretty benign. But this thing had like Dracula fangs. Like,
oh, April.
Yep.
And and that's the wrap. That was season 2, episode 3. It ends with them all laughing at Michelangelo with a plant hanging off his nose.
Yep.
So what's how many slices for this one, fellas?
I don't know. Because this one actually made me laugh pretty hard a couple times. So I'm gonna say 8.
Nice.
I don't want there to be a bad episode, but I'm like, give me something I can like hit. And it's just like I just haven't had anything really that bad.
Yeah. I'm gonna go with the 7.
Okay.
It wasn't bad. It definitely had some issues. The giant plant was pretty cool. There wasn't a whole lot of action besides that. Well, I guess there was. I guess there was the fight again where they scalded Baxter and Stockfoot and all that. But I don't know. It was pretty entertaining overall. But it was also kind of just missing some stuff, I felt like. And then there were like some really weird plot things that didn't make sense.
Actually, I'll give it a 7. Just hearing you, talk it out again, it's like, no, it wasn't. The Baxter thing is why it has a 7. Okay, that's why I'm giving it a 7. Otherwise, it definitely would have been lower. So,
okay,
I'll say a 7 too.
Okay.
Why buck the trend? I'll also give it a 7. That's a jackpot in Vegas. So
there you go.
Mm-hmm.
Well,
all the same. The plant didn't do it for me as the big bad, And I feel Shredder had less of a prominent presence, even though he was in the episode. He was just kind of relegated to fodder in favor of the turtle. I mean, the turtle, the plant.
Mm-hmm.
But this was a funny episode. That's why I was thinking about, as I was watching it, I'm like, oh man, this will probably be my lowest score yet. And I think it is. I don't know if I've given a 7 before, but it was going to get lower. But I did find myself, like you were saying, Chris, laughing a lot. That always saves it for me. So yeah, I'm right there with you guys.
Definitely.
Yeah.
Nice. Well, we did get 2 extra pieces out of it, so
We got 2 good quality pizzas out of it too.
Yeah, we got actually normal pizzas. Yeah.
Mm-hmm. Extra olives, ain't nothing wrong with that.
So would that just be like a cheese pizza with olives?
I think it would be olives, and if you can, you gotta like double the olives, maybe.
Get extra olives, yeah.
Yeah, get extra olives
That's
if
a lot of
possible.
olives. Okay.
If nothing else, just at least get black and green olives.
Oh, I never thought about specifically green olives on the pizza. Seems like they're always
Don't
black.
they? You can do that, right? Yes. Can you get green? Is that?
I've never seen
You
it.
get green olives?
I
Maybe
don't
not.
see why not, but-
We haven't seen
Maybe
it.
not. Maybe I just made that up.
So what are we at now? 13?
Yes, 13 pizzas so far. Well, 12. Let me take off the one we did, the
Oh,
chocolate
the one
chips
we
and
did.
caramel fudge. So that one is out of here.
Anything else, guys? Anything close it out?
No, I think again, this was not a boring episode, but it wasn't a really good one either.
It was a good filler. I mean,
Yeah. I mean, it had plenty. It had good stuff overall. It was fine.
right on. All right, guys. Thanks everybody for tuning in this week. Please, if you have any feedback, you want us to say something more, say less, you got anything you think we would be fun to add, or you want to hear, anything, any suggestions, please reach out to us. We are at turtles@coolbutrude.com. So once again, thanks for tuning in this week. Next week, we'll be going over season 2, episode 4, The Mean Machines. See ya.